Welcome back to Tycoon Talk, where we talk about financial and personal development. I'm Bafi. If you haven't already, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and give us a thumbs up at the end of this video if you find it informative. Today's topic is on why I sold the Benz after paying it off in just under 2 years. Last month I made a video talking about how I was able to pay off that car in 2 years, and you're probably asking, Bafi, why sell the car? Well, let's find out. Shit. Before I tell you why I sold the car, I'm going to tell you why I bought the car to begin with. And it's not what most people might think. For starters, I bought the car because of its quality. Even when I was young growing up, and even to this day, it's still the only car that I want to own. So I just love how clean it is, the quality, its longevity. I'm not saying that any other car don't have those qualities, but for me personally, I believe that they make the best driving machines, hands down. I just love their cars, man, because they have personality, they have style, they have taste, it has that prestige, that high level, and feng shui, whatever you want to call it. And that's my taste. I like stuff like that. Now, I'm very frugal, but I'm not cheap. A lot of times, family and friends get those things messed up because cheap people don't buy a Benz. Also, I got the car for myself after graduating undergrad with my sports administration degree because I was the first in my immediate family to go to college and graduate. Also, I never give myself anything. I never really buy much, so I was like, look, I'm going to take care of me because I worked hard, I earned it, and I deserve it. Sidebar, I am so weird and awkward when it comes to compliments and gifts. Like, I'm terrible at receiving gifts. Don't ask me why because I don't have an answer for it, but I am working on that. I'm doing a lot better than I used to. Being the first to graduate in our immediate family was a big milestone, and navigating through college was no easy task. I had to overcome so many challenges and obstacles. I wasn't just a student, I was a student athlete at a Division I program with very high success rate. I've been to the NCAA multiple times, multiple wins in the NCAA tournament. So just imagine I have to be a full-time student athlete, which you already know how that goes. That takes up a lot of your time. Social life, I had to work on that, balance that out. Family life, and I had to work. Prior to college, I was a terrible student. My middle school grades were terrible. My high school grades weren't good. I had to take a lot of summer school. In fact, I almost didn't make it into college because my GPA was so bad. Despite all the stress and challenges that I faced, my college days were amazing. I grew so much just being on my own. I became responsible and mature. I remember telling my mom that I'm going to sell the car, and I could tell by her face that she was just heartbroken. She knew how hard I worked to pay that car off, and she felt like I deserved it. Friends and family always have an opinion and advice on what you should do, what you should not do. And they mean well. But at the end of the day, it is my responsibility to make my own life decisions, and I will not leave it to anybody else. Now, you know that life is art, not numbers. But numbers don't lie either. So I was driving around 7 hours a week, 28 hours a month, and 240 hours the whole year. When you convert that into time, I was driving 15 days out of the year. And we can double it, right? Let's just round up. So let's say I'm driving 1 month in terms of time out of the whole year. But when I put the pen to the paper and realized that when it comes to my financial resources, my life energy, the sacrifices I'm making, it was costing me actual 7 months of hard work and labor just to maintain and keep the car. Once I came to that conclusion, I said, this trade-off is definitely not worth it. So as painful as it was for me and everybody involved, I sold the car. The most important thing to do when you find yourself in a hole is to stop digging. You only keep digging if your life depends on it or if saving a life depends on it. Then by all means, in that scenario, dig away because life is more valuable. All my life and my parents' lives, we've been saddled with debt. I mean, we're born into the negatives and we got to climb our way up to zero and then try to get positive. You know what I mean? I know a lot of you can relate to this. We all really be in the same boat. Through financial and personal development, I was able to shift my thinking and my mindset. And some of the things that helped with that paradigm shift was reading books and studying life. That's why here at Black Tycoon Talk, we study life. That's why some of the things I do don't seem to make sense or add up because it's not a normal way of thinking. It's a whole different lifestyle. This is why here at Black Tycoon Talk, we focus on long-term thinking and strategies rather than short-term because that helps elevate you from average thinking to above average thinking. And once you do that, the above average result starts flooding in. Oftentimes we say common sense, but what we actually mean is uncommon sense because if it was so common, then everybody would just be doing it. As I was making progress on my tycoon journey, I began to focus on needs versus wants. Now, the most beneficial aspect of having a car is the convenience factor, right? You can move when you want, you can go wherever you want, you can leave wherever you want. But I could have easily gone without the car. I didn't really need it. It was more of a want. Hindsight is 2020, and I learned that a car is a liability after the fact. Whether I was still making car payments or I owned the car outright is always going to take money out of my pocket, and therefore that makes it a liability. But the two biggest reasons why I sold the car was my life energy and the opportunity cost. For me to work 7 months, use up a lot of my life energy, miss out on all the experience I want to have, miss out on quality time that I want to spend with the people that I care about the most, it became too much of a sacrifice for me to pay. Physically, mentally, emotionally, it was just too draining. These are some of the factors that need to be considered when making big purchases. Just because you can make the payment or because you paid it off in full, it does not mean that that's the full price. Some of us are still paying the price every single day for things that we know we don't value as much, or things that are just common wants that we barely even enjoy. And I want to chop life heavy. There's no way I can do that if I have to constantly trade my resources, my time and energy in this fashion. The downside to having a car was all the sacrifices that I made to pay it off and also just to keep it and maintain it. You know what I mean? So the fact that I wasn't there to be able to pull my weight for some of my close friends and the people I care about the most, and just being available to help them when they needed it because I was too busy working all the time or I was just tired so I had to rest. I had conversations with those people later on and I apologized to them. At the end of the day, I am Tycoon, but I'm also human, so I'm not perfect. I'm very lucky and blessed to have such strong and supportive people around me because I'm difficult to deal with, and I know they love me for who I am because I'm very, very unique and different. I'm one of those people, you can't fake love or fake be around me forever. Sooner or later, you're going to be like, yo, this guy's too much, I gotta go. Opportunity cost means what did I miss out on by not deploying my finances and my life energy wisely in a way that it becomes an asset and improves the quality of life. If you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you will notice that a couple weeks ago, I made a post on exactly what this opportunity cost was. Feel free to follow us and share our content so others can benefit. In total, the Benz cost me $30,000, but this cost me, my future, and the family 10 years of setback. Let me explain. The first year, I paid $15,000 off the car of my hard-earned money with blood, sweat, and tears. The second year, I had an investment account worth about $20,000, which I garnished it so I could finish paying off the car. And then I sold the car some months later, which is also hard-earned money. Now, this is where it gets interesting. $15,000 plus $20,000 gives us $35,000. Now, let's factor in some extra expenses regarding the car. $5,000, maintenance, car insurance, gas, decor, decorations, anything of that nature. Let's add another $5,000 for unnecessary spending within the last 2 years. That puts us at $45,000. Now let's add another $5,000 just for any other random expenditures or unplanned spending that occurred. That puts us at $50,000. That $50,000 invested wisely from then until now could easily be worth $100,000. At $100,000, we can easily take out $50,000 and put it on a house for the down payment, move my parents and my brothers in it, and we can all live in the house. And then the other $50,000 can be used as our family emergency fund. This gives us peace of mind for family emergencies, especially in these COVID months. I know $50,000 will go a long way for a lot of families. In addition, it has to be liquid because it can be used for any emergency that comes up. So we might even put it in a money market account just to give us a low fighting chance against inflation. My family and I can go hard and finish the rest of the mortgage off in 6 years instead of renting like we do now. Now there's 5 of us living rent-free / mortgage-free. Imagine we stick together for another 5 years. We manage to save $1,000 a month each. That gives us $5,000 a month. At the course of 5 years, that's $300,000 in capital. That's cash. Now we have all the leverage and flexibility as a family. We can easily put that $300,000 in a basic S&P 500 index fund, which the last 10 years it has returned basically 200%. So let's say it returns around another 200% in the next 10 years. Even half that would easily be $600,000 to $1 million. Another option is to buy 2 rental properties by putting $100,000 in each. That leaves us with $100,000, and we can easily keep that one in the S&P 500 index fund and just let it collect dividends and grow over time. In just a little over 10 years, our family is basically worth $1 million, and that is the opportunity cost that I missed out on by simply having that $30,000 Mercedes Benz. My parents wouldn't have to work anymore, and we could all just chop life at a much higher level. I get asked all the time, Bafi, how do you get around? Do you miss the car? Me personally, I don't miss the car because I've never been attached emotionally to materials. And on top of that, before the car, I was still able to get around, so I'm still gonna get out. For the last 2 to 3 years, my main mode of transportation have been my bicycle. I'm lucky enough to work about 2 to 3 miles from my job, so I just ride my bike. Sometimes I run, sometimes I walk to work. So it has additional incentives such as, physical activity. I'm very, very active. Also, it has no cost. Speaking of that bicycle, it's actually deceased, man. It broke down during the COVID months, and I don't know what happened. It might have caught something, but I haven't replaced it yet because I've been on furlough. But there's probably going to be a good chance that by the time you see this video, I'll be back to work. So I'm going to go get another one. And if you see me riding my bike on the road, don't forget to say hi. Public transportation is another way that I get around. When we're going to functions, I tend to move with the squad anyway. So, I'll take care of the gas. I'll take care of the first or second drink. Sometimes I'll take care of the meal. I'll pay the ticket for the function that we're going to. Just for their troubles. I'm not going to lie. I did feel pretty cool driving that car around because I kept it real clean too. I felt like a nice little local celebrity. When it comes to the experience and the lifestyle of having that car, I give it 5 out of 5. But when it comes to the sacrifice and what I had to pay and the opportunity cost that associated with it, 0 out of 5. Life is always teaching us. You either learn your lessons or it just keeps teaching you until your time is up. If you think money and emotions, you will never have any. Tycoons seek to live an above average life, so therefore they must become an above average individual. So stay safe, chop life, and stay tycoon. Shit!